Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Sahara Omar. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing here in the state of Texas. And today's video, I wanted to share with you guys what is anger issues. I work with a lot of clients who either are referred by other providers to me or sometimes get into trouble with the law and because of these anger issues. And the common thing that is being told to them is you need anger management. So if this is you, if you're somebody who struggles with anger, or you know somebody who struggles with anger, feel free to share this video with them as well. And I want to break it down for you guys, what it is, where it comes from, and how do you overcome it. All right. So when we think of anger issues, just first I do want to clarify there's a difference between healthy anger and dysfunctional anger. Anything in psychology is typically going to be on a spectrum, and we want to learn how to view both sides of the equation equally and overcome the dysfunctional side of us, okay? Healthy anger typically walks you up to a point where you are needing to set a boundary, okay? When we talk about boundary, I have a video about boundaries. I highly encourage you guys to look back as well. We need anger to help us set boundaries. No individual on an individual level can actually stand up for ourselves and set those boundaries if we do not have that healthy anger, okay? Healthy anger, like I said, it walks you up to a boundary and helps you set those boundaries with people. Now, when we surpass that boundary towards other people's boundaries, now we are in a different space. That's when it becomes dysfunctional anger, okay? Typically, anger issues also come from our childhood, right? So if you grew up in a household where you had a parent who was always yelling, always on edge, nothing is good enough for them, that was a behavior that was modeled for you, that this is how you conduct yourself as well, okay? I've also worked with clients where both parents are calm, but they themselves are the angry one in the family system. Typically, that's also rooted in entitlement, right? So if we always got our way and we never learn how other people can say no to us and actually take a step back because they said no and that's okay, when we have that extreme entitlement, we could just cross other people's boundaries and yell and scream and all of that as well too, okay? So the challenge for all of us is to always self-reflect. This is why I highly recommend, if you are not in therapy, get in therapy, because the story has to make sense. You want to know and help your brain, where does it come from? Did you grow up with a dysfunctional parent? Did you grow up in a household where yelling was normalized? Or did you just had your way all the time and you don't know how to accept that no is okay from other people as well, okay? So that's where it comes from. Typically, to kind of understand as well, like what are common signs. These are the common signs that we typically see with people who struggle with anger issues. The first one is frequent irritability, right? Like just constantly being on edge, getting annoyed and frustrated with even minor things, like let's say your mail did not arrive on time, or your coffee at the barista did not make it the right way that you wanted, right? Like just constantly just being annoyed, sighing a lot, just making noises verbally or non-verbally as well, like facial expressions, right? This frequent irritability is a common sign. Another common sign is explosive outburst. A lot of times people who have anger issues, they're very yelly, right? Their voice carries, but not only just carrying that voice, like some people are naturally bold in their speech, but this is more like taking it another level up, right? Like screaming, using a lot of force, swearing a lot as well too, like a lot of cussing, a lot of profanity language, and also lashing out suddenly, right? Like there a lot of times people say like it's like a switch that happens for me, I have no control over it, right? That switch is the explosive outburst typically, okay? Another common sign is difficulty calming down. Even when people tell us like, hey, slow down, take a deep breath, we struggle to listen when we have anger issues. So we're staying angry, for example, longer than we need to. Sometimes in therapy, when I see the anger issues typically show up a lot in couples work. So if one person is just elevated a little bit more, I will remind them, hey, we need to slow down, we need to calm down. There is no productive work if we start yelling. And sometimes if they have true anger issues, they will not slow down, even when somebody else is telling them, hey, I need you to calm down right now, okay? Another common sign is blaming others. not taking any accountability, not saying, yes, I did this, this is my job, or this is my wrongdoing, apologize, right? There is no such a thing like with anger issues, individuals like that's taking that sense of like ownership when we cross other people's boundaries as well. If we are self-aware typically, and when we cross people's boundaries, we are able to apologize and recognize, earlier when I was yelling, that was not okay, I'm sorry, right? And actually work towards not yelling anymore. But people who are not self-aware yet typically will refuse to take any responsibility. They might say things like even gaslight you and say, well, I yelled because you made me yell, or you the reason why when you did X, Y, and Z, that's why I did it this way, right? Like there is no true accountability, a lot of blame shifting. And then the last common sign is relationship problems. As a therapist, this is where I see a lot, whether it is parent-child relationship, couples, even friendship, right? People who have anger issues typically have reoccurring conflicts with people, a lot of tension with loved ones as well too, and even work, not understanding that you could just set boundaries and walk away from things. They find themselves like looping around with people, going in cycles over and over again, where they are exerting so much power and yelling and name calling and fighting, right? So it just causes to, unfortunately, more chaos, okay? Like I said, if this is you, the goal of this channel is to not shame people. It's just to recognize that's what you're struggling with. Highly recommend getting into therapy. And also, this is how we overcome it, right? Like, so when I work with clients who are anger or struggle with anger issues, typically I have to remind them the anger is a secondary emotion. It's the thing that shows up, right? So what's behind the anger, right? What is it that's driving you to be this angry? Typically, it's going to be rooted in like some sort of feeling like disrespected or not seen or violated, right? Like there is a form of boundary that is being crossed that's leading us to lean into anger over any other emotions, right? And typically, people who struggle with anger issue do not like to cry. That's another common theme that I see a lot. Like sadness is not a thing in their vocabulary. They would lean into anger more than any other emotions. And learning also how to give yourself that permission to, it's okay to cry when things are not going your way. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It's actually a form of release in itself instead of just leaning into anger as well, okay? Over time, it takes time, right? Like you have to reflect and ask yourself, where does it come from? Who modeled it for me? What is happening behind the anger? Become normal with expressing that sadness, also learning how to set your boundaries, and eventually you get to a point where you're not leaning into anger that much anymore, right? So just think of anger as the catalyst that helps you set your boundaries, but it should not be crossing other people's boundaries as well. Alrighty, I hope you guys liked the video. Feel free to hit that thumbs up. It helps a lot with the algorithm. Also leave me a comment if this is you and this is somebody that you know is overcoming this. And also feel free to share this video with others. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.